What's up? My name is Glue Boy. Welcome back to the channel, and today we're talking about another Xenos, actually. I've been on a big Imperium Chaos hot streak, and now I'm gonna change it up a little bit. Primarily, I'm a big Chaos Imperium fanboy, so I kind of default to those, so apologies. Though, today we're talking about, obviously, the best Xenos faction, the Necrons, and one of their best characters. A lovable Necron by the name of Nemesor Zahndrekh. So Nemesor Zahndrekh can be put among the great Necron characters that are just a little goofy, like Trazyn. He's kind of similar in vibe to Trazyn. Though, before I get into what makes him a little fun, I gotta do some background real quick, just in case. Now, way back in the day, the Necron tier were flesh people, until eventually they met the C'tan before the War in Heaven, and became robots, where their souls got whisked away, eaten up, and now they're robots. And after the War in Heaven, where they wiped out the old ones, fought back against the C'tan, and did all their normal Necron stuff that happened way back in the day, the Silent King, the leader of the Necrons, decided to put everyone in a great sleep. As Necrons were not the dominant force in the galaxy anymore, instead it was Eldar. And he knew, obviously, because what else can they fucking do? He knew the Eldar would eventually collapse and just kind of destroy itself and stop being the dominant force in the galaxy. So he put everyone into something known as the Great Sleep, where for a long ass time, all the Necrons were in deep hibernation inside their tomb world, to where eventually, in the 41st millennium, they started waking up. Now, one of the problems with this is this much sleep starts to give some mental degradation. Memories fade, personalities get altered. Just to the greatest extent, your typical Necron warrior has like no personality. Because your regular, like, weak mind, weak-willed, rank and file Necron tier, like, guy, just some dude you pulled off the street, doesn't really have the wherewithal to keep all of himself together for that long. So now he's just, a full-on robot, no thoughts, no emotions, nothing. And the notable people, the actual characters, gotta retain some of their stuff, with some quirks. Now you see, Nemesor Zahndrekh here was a pretty prominent military guy. In fact, Nemesor is just a fancy Necron word for general, that's all he is. His first name's not actually Nemesor, that's his title. So Zahndrekh here, pretty cool guy. A master tactician, honestly, on like the level of like Creed, which is an insane compliment. But there's one little problem. Zahndrekh here still thinks he's flesh and blood. In fact, it's so far that Nemesor Zahndrekh believes he's back in like the Necron tier civil wars, back when they were like on their planet, not yet robots. He still thinks he's back there. In fact, obviously, if you heard about Nemesor Zahndrekh, you've heard this quote, but I'm gonna read it anyways. "See, Oberyn, the Separatists come, attempting to outflank me, just as they did at the 4th Battle of Vidoc. How they calculate that daubing themselves green and roaring like savages will produce a different outcome, I cannot fathom. But it is of no account. Ready, my legions, another glorious victory shall soon be ours." So yeah, that's how he approaches like every battle. And you would think, oh, the other Necrons, they're all very politic-y, like to play those like Game of Thrones level like backstabs and plots. They're gonna do something. Well, not really, because he's really fucking good at what he does. So you can kind of just point out a problem and be like, go on your way, bud, just deal with the problem. And this goes into some more states, as Zahndrekh here has a bedtime and tries to sleep. He has tea breaks. I don't know how he drinks it. I think he just like pours it down his chest or something. He tries to eat food. He has Necron poison tasters, where they'll taste his food to make sure he's not being poisoned. Like, that stuff. He's goofy. This guy has full-on like robot dementia, but he's such a fun character and everywhere he like belongs in. And that's not even to note, Nemesor Zahndrekh's actually kind of a cool dude. He's a Necron still, so not a good guy, but like no one is. But he actually doesn't go out his way to kill everything. He really hates tactics like orbital bombardment, and he refuses to do like exterminata shit. He wants boots on the ground, rank and file, military formations, fight your enemy in honorable combat, and then he will do his damnedest to capture the enemy leaders and take them aboard a ship to show them the beauties of Necron tier culture and treat them to a nice lovely breakfast. Like, the dude served omelets to Corsaro Khan. Dude rules. But, however, there's a small problem with this. A lot of these people, save for Corsaro Khan, he got out, don't actually escape. That's because of his best buddy and bodyguard, Vargard Oberyn. And I do mean that. His title's Vargard, not Vanguard. I see people mistaking that all the time. Now, Oberyn doesn't actually believe this whole delusion. He obviously knows he's a robot. And he's also given up trying to just tell Zahndrekh this. It's kind of a done deal. He believes what he believes. Let's just work with it. And when a lot of these political prisoners start staying a little too long, he kills them, throws them out the airlock, and then just tells Zahndrekh, oh, I'm sorry, they tried to escape. They pulled a little coup and I took them out. I had to protect you. And then he's like, oh, of course, Oberyn, you're such a handy servant. Oberyn is the one to make sure that Zahndrekh doesn't get sucked into any weird political machinations, since he obviously doesn't have the wherewithal to stick with it. So say some Necron is trying to pull a fast one and usurp Zahndrekh, Oberyn's like standing right behind him, just ready to immediately kill the guy. Now, two last things I'm going to get into here. Now, despite their whole bodyguard-master relationship, they're also just really good bros, because Oberyn is one of the few people that can actually like stand Zahndrekh's existence, and also just enjoys his company. Vice versa, it's real nice and kind of touching, because especially this quote I'm going to read in a second. Because Zahndrekh here might be a little aware of what's going on. There's a quote right at the end of the short story Severance, so I'm going to spoil the ending. It's really nice. Read the short story, it's not that big of a read, just do that, and come back. Or, you know, just whatever. I'm not your dad, I don't care what you do. But our souls, Zahndrekh, the machine, it could give us our souls back. It could give us our bodies. Please, Lord, let's at least take part of it with us, so we can know for sure. Oh dear Vargard, why do you hold on to such things? You must let the thought of this awful contraption go. Zahndrekh put an arm around him in consolation, and continued. Let me pose you this thought, Oberyn, in the hope it will bring you ease. What do you think caused you to hold true to me all this time, despite all the power you might have enjoyed through betrayal if it were not a soul? What can love but a being with a soul? Even if we all ceased to be flesh and blood millions of years ago, which of course I don't believe for a moment, Zahndrekh actually winked. Wouldn't it have suited us better to live in denial of that, as some fools might say I had done? Wouldn't it be better, Oberyn, just to accept our fate and enjoy immortality for the everlasting life of merry campaigning it has proved to be? Oberyn stared hard at Zahndrekh, unsure of what he was hearing. You old bastard, you knew all along. I knew nothing of the sort, old friend, but since you seem to be laboring under some delusion that you're a soulless machine, I thought I should at least make some attempt to set you straight. Zahndrekh stood up then and patted his thigh for Oberyn to join him. Come now, soldier, up on your feet, and let's return to the flagship. If we're quick about it, we can have this all cleared up in time for a truly astonishing feast. Oberyn, ever loyal, obeyed his lord. He would have wept, but he had no tears. And it's that shit right there that makes me love so many Necron characters. Because Trajan's like this too, Oricans like this. They have like a goofy exterior, because they're a crazed chronomancer like Snake Man. There's the physical embodiment of the British Museum, or like a robot with dementia, and they're really funny on the surface. And once you dig deep, they're like kind of sad and like touching almost. They all have this very integral sadness that I think makes me love Necron characters like so much. Necron books rule. Read all the ones you can, please. They're so solid. Yeah, that's gonna wrap it up. If you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, do that stuff. Join my membership. See ya.